Okay, we're here at the Loomis booth. They have some of the coolest stuff going on right now.
These are at $495,
we have
aren't they?
Steve Rajeff that's going to walk us through 3 of their top models of fly rod.
I want to catch a fish this time.
Okay, so we have Steve Rajeff. You guys know who Steve is. He's one of the best fly rod designers in the whole world, and he's got these new rods he's going to talk to us about. So I'm going to be quiet. We're going to listen to Steve.
Hey Clark, thanks. Here we are at the Fly Tackle Dealer Show in Denver 2019, and it's a big year for us. NRX, a family of fly rods that's been our top of the line rod for so long, has been replaced this year. It's called the NRX Plus. And it's a design for performance type family where we use new technologies, new materials, new mandrels, new factory processes to build a lighter and nicer recovery, what we call dynamic recovery technology blank. And that's a combination thing of new materials and new designs that allow for a broader sweet spot in the middle of the rod. Let me show you what I mean. So for a lot of rods, you'll have a continuous straight taper until the ferrule point, and it works well, and you change the tapers to change the stiffness. With the new dynamic recovery, we have a multi-taper tip. It comes up to about the middle of the tip, and then the flare kicks in to build up a larger size at the bottom of the tip. The top of the second is already a little bit bigger, therefore a little stiffer, and it makes for a longer area of moderate power throughout the middle. So you feel the tip for delicacy on short, then you pick up the mid zone of the rod, and then that mid zone carries you from 20 to 50, 60. If you really got to hit it, you still have plenty of power at the butt end of the rod. So we use new material, new resin to create this new fantastic performance level, and that's why we introduced it. A new level of performance by virtue of new technology. So that was the NRX Plus, which comes in 26 different models, all the full range. Delicacy trout, what we call the LP, the light presentation. The normal trout family, moving into saltwater, 7 through 12 weights. Also we have the little switch rods in size 6, 7, and 8, 11 footers, and also two-handed spay, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 6 weights at 12 and a half, the others are 13-foot 3. The benchmark of the whole G-Loomis company for rods is the Asquith. It came out 2 years ago as a joint project between our parent company, which is Shimano, and they have a technology called Spiral X, and it's taking a ribbon of graphite tape, almost like dental floss, not too heavy, and they wind that on the mandrel. Then we run the longitudinal fibers that are characteristic of most rods. Then the outside gets an exterior wrapping of that carbon tape in the counter spiral direction, and that neutralizes any twisting. When you hold this rod, it just boom, it just goes right what you aim for. There's no deviation. It tracks exceptionally well. The tapers are progressive. They load comfortably, short, medium, and long. They do not have the multi-taper tip like the others do, but it still is so incredibly light, positive, crisp. It's a phenomenal casting rod.
We've been fishing this for a few months, and I am absolutely blown away with what the Asquith does.
You use a rod, it might say 8 weight, and you fish with it, and it feels like a 5 or a 6. You just cannot believe how much control and effortless casting you get out of this. And also in the more moderately priced family range, 2 years ago, the IMX Pro was launched, and the IMX Pro utilizes the multi-tip taper concept. It was the groundbreaker that brought us up to the NRX Plus now with all the new materials. This used some existing materials, although they were a new gauge, a new thickness weight that allowed us to lighten up the blank a little bit more. But the IMX Pro at 525, 545 range is a great performer that has blanks that were invented for specific applications. So although it's a 9.5, I mean, it'll do a lot of things, but it's a more modern design, a little crisper. It'll handle a hopper dropper or a double nymph and an indicator type thing. They're all positive casting rods throughout the IMX Pro.
Yeah, we got the 9.5-foot 6 weight, and that's the ultimate streamer rod for me. It is phenomenal. When I cast it in the parking lot, it's just effortless how much line that thing would throw.
At 9.5, it'll lift a lot of line, mend a lot of line. It was invented more as a nymphing rod with a bigger indicator and bigger flies. for the streamer fly crowd, we do make a couple of one-piece fly rods in the IMX Pro in a 7-weight and an 8-weight, and wow, those are just
I need to try some of those.
Amazing rods. So
cool.
So we have IMX Pro, NRX Plus in 26 new models, and existing Asquith rods are high end of the high.
Yeah, and I just cast the NRX Plus LP for the first time, and it is a phenomenal rod. Very light in the hand, it turns over well, very fast recovery. I think I'm gonna have to pick one of those up.
Yeah, I do too. All right.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for chatting with us, and check out Loomis Rods, some of the finest rods you'll ever cast.